Hello, and welcome to July's episode of Let's Talk Oregon. I'm your host, Mike Ducett. Today we have two fantastic segments. In our first segment, we'll be sitting down with folks from the Oregon Straw Hat Players, producer Emily Richardson and director Sarah Karlen of this summer's production of Bright Star. And our second segment, we'll sit down with Brandon Loncaric as we talk to him, as he is the director of the Oregon Youth Center. So we got lots of exciting news and information to share with you today. So Sarah and Emily, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming, and thank you for coming to preview all the great things that are going to be happening here at the Oregon Performing Arts Center here in late July and early August.
Thank you.
So Sarah, as the director of the show, what is your vision for Bright Star? Why don't you go ahead and tell us about the show? I know it's written by Steve Martin, but kind of fill us in beyond that.
Sure. Well, Bright Star is a show that's not known as well because it kind of came out at the same time as Hamilton, and the whole world knows what Hamilton is, but they didn't know about Bright Star. But it was on Broadway. It was nominated for Best Musical. It was written by, as you said, Steve Martin and Edie Brickell. Originally started out more about writing the music and then turned into a musical. I guess I would say that this show is about redemption. It's about what it is to be human and lose things and have tragedy in your life, but then see it come around, and as you persevere, as you have hope in the future, to see that change and find new joy and redemption in your life out of that pain and turmoil into a life that is filled with hope and love. And so it's a beautiful story, and that's really what I see as my vision is, how are we going to tell this beautiful story of redemption? And
now the story, not only Sarah has a beautiful story, but I understand there's beautiful music that's kind of special at the same time.
Absolutely. The music is very unusual, being Steve Martin and Edie Brickell have more of a bluegrass folk kind of feel. Steve Martin is a wonderful banjo player, so there's some great banjo and mandolin in the orchestra. And it's not your typical musical theater music. It has a very different feel. It has a southern, more Appalachian feel, and the show itself takes place in North Carolina in the 1920s and the 1940s. So it has that kind of a heartwarming feel to it, and the music does as well.
Well, I'm a big fan of bluegrass, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Now, Emily, as a producer, you have lots of responsibilities. And first of all, how big is this cast, and how big is the cast, and what are we going to see on stage from these folks?
So this is a little bit of a departure for us because the last 2 summers we did some pretty big shows.
Sure.
Between Mamma Mia and Beauty and the Beast, we had pretty big casts, really big audiences, very well-known musicals. So this was a good opportunity for us to kind of take a pause and do something different and kind of tone things down a little bit this year. So I think our cast is 26, 27?
It's about 28.
28?
Okay.
It's close.
High 20s. And it's interesting because we have people that are playing in 2 different time frames. You know, we have some people in the 20s, some in the 40s, and then our ensemble backs up the numbers in both time periods. So that's one of the interesting things you'll see is not only the smaller group, but we've tried to find ways to make it clear to the audience what time period they're seeing.
Right.
So there's some little tricks that we're doing to try to help with the transitions for the audience's sake.
The magic of theater will always happen, right? And so with this being a bluegrass musical, did you struggle to find some folks in the pit who would have some special talents that aren't normally just, violin or cello or piano? Who can speak to that?
I can speak to that because we started that probably in January, starting to try to recruit people. And I would say the banjo player, mandolin, we have a violinist, but the violinists need to be able to play fiddle music, not just classical violin, the bass player. But luckily, the banjo player we have has played this show before.
Okay.
So he knows the music, and that really made a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, those are hard to find. They're not readily available at all times. So that's, I'm sure, a unique challenge of this show. Speaking of unique challenges, what other kind of theatrical challenges are you going to face with the show in terms of the set, the lighting design? You spoke now of kind of 2 different time periods. How are you going to approach that, Sarah?
Well, one of the things about the show is it flows back and forth between the 1920s and 1940s continuously, and some characters play themselves in both eras. So as you can imagine, between costuming and changing of location and trying to make them look younger and older, there has to be a little bit of creativity there because we don't have time to make everybody suddenly look older or suddenly look younger. And this show also has an unusual role for the ensemble in that sometimes they're just kind of like this background group that is adding music, but they're not like present in the scene. Whereas other times they're actually playing people in the scene.
Sure.
And so I think the challenges have been those things, is that how do we let the audience know when are these people really here? When are they kind of just in the background? They're always kind of present. And it's just a unique way that they wrote the show to have the ensemble work that way and then have the show go back and forth between two time periods.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of cool lighting designs that will
Yes.
definitely help with that. And you're how many weeks out from the show at this point, Emily?
We have 2 more weeks of rehearsal. So first weekend of August is opening weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about time to start putting it all together and
Yeah.
start stitching all those different elements together. So when you think about what was kind of your reasoning behind wanting to kind of, you said you had some 2 larger casts 2 summers in a row, now to kind of scale things back a little bit. Like, what are the advantages of, at this point, kind of doing this type of show now in the space?
Well, this particular show is one I've wanted to direct for a long time, but because it is smaller, it's not always right, because we are quite often in the summer doing large cast shows. But this year we had a different kind of season and schedule, and we did the musical 6, the student edition.
Which was fantastic. If you guys missed out on that, that was a really fabulous production with a lot of talented young women from this era. It was awesome.
Yeah,
So.
and because 6 was taking place in June, we're like, well, let's do another smaller show instead this year, instead of trying to, it's kind of like having 2 summer shows instead of 1. And that opened this opportunity, because as we were talking about shows and looking at shows, originally I wasn't planning to direct. We had, you're always getting different directors that are involved with us and different show ideas, but it just sort of came down to a smaller show, and this is a show I've always wanted to do. It's always meant a lot to me, and more recently even more. So just it felt like the right time, the right place in our season.
Yeah, it's got to be the right fit for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Emily, we were talking before filming. I think a cool idea that you guys have is you're talking about having the musicians on stage. Is that correct? No longer in the. So, what kind of advantages do you think that brings for the audience in terms of seeing those live musicians play?
Well, one advantage is that I think it gives a lot of energy to the performers, because we're like interacting with them and we can see them playing, and there's just a lot better communication, I think, with us and the band. And also, they're more visible, they're not down in the pit, so it's not a mystery, and they're kind of included in the story, I think. We do acknowledge them, right? So
there's several scenes where they're kind of part of the scene.
Sure. Well, that's great.
There's a square dance scene, in fact, where they're clearly interacting with the dancers and that kind of thing.
So it definitely adds a little bit more realism to the story as well. They have these, and I would imagine very talented bluegrass players as well. It's fun to watch those players as well, as they really work their hands very fast at times. So it's really exciting. So now, if somebody is sitting at home right now and they're thinking, man, I missed out on this. I really wanted to get involved in the Oregon Straw Hat Players. I really wanted to try out for a show. What other opportunities do you have coming up, and how would they get in contact with someone from the organization to kind of volunteer or to kind of make their way into the organization?
I can take that.
Yeah, go for it.
We don't have anything on the calendar at the moment, which is a good thing. We just did 4 shows in a row with pretty much no break. So we don't have anything specific on the calendar, but if anyone just wanted to go to our website, which can Google Oregon Straw Hat Players or do oshponline.org, and there is a link to just a general communications email, or they can email the president. Either way, those emails are all on there, and just say, I want to be on your mailing list. Please let me know when your next show will be, and that kind of thing. So
great. Yeah.
In general, we do. This year we did 4 shows, which is actually more than we normally do. About 3 a year.
Okay.
So always kind of shoot for something that's in the fall, something that's in the spring, and then a bigger show in the summer. The summer show is almost always a musical, and the other ones may or may not be musicals, or might be for youth. So try to give lots of opportunities to lots of different types of people in the community.
Right, and that's not always on stage too. You need seamstresses, you need
Absolutely.
painters, you need construction crew, you need backstage help. So it takes a village to really put together.
Absolutely. In fact, if people still want to help this summer,
Yeah.
we could still use help with
There
some
you
of those
go.
things for
Okay.
the just next 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. So let's talk. How do we find the tickets? What are the prices? And where should people go for that information?
Sure.
Okay. Well, as Emily said, the easiest way is to go to our website, which is oshbonline.org, and you click on the ticket link. It says Bright Star, buy tickets right there. We have a price for adults, seniors, and youth, and they're gradated. I won't say the exact price because I will probably get it wrong.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But you get those opportunities, which is great. And you get to pick your own seats in the PAC, which is beautiful, of course,
it's a beautiful space
to
yes,
have.
for sure.
And we have, starting Saturday, we open on Saturday night, August 2nd.
Okay.
And so the 2nd, there's a 7:30 show. On Sunday, the next day, there's an afternoon show at 2. And then the next weekend, we have Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday nights. So 6 shows total, the 2nd through the 9th.
So lots of opportunities to come out and
Yep.
see the show. Lots of great seats available, I'm sure.
Yep.
There's really not a bad seat in the theater. I work in that space myself quite a bit. And on top of that, make sure you come out and support local community theater. That's a really, really important thing. And these folks have worked really hard to put together an amazing production for the community. So be sure to go out and support that. So thanks for being here today and talking about the show. I know you both are very passionate about theater in this community. I appreciate that. And I know it's going to be a wonderful experience that I can't wait to see.
Great.
So thank you for joining us today. We're going to take a break and we'll see you back here on the second segment. Thanks.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is vaping? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes. Look at that. You didn't even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you got to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Welcome back from the break. And like I said in the intro, we're now here with Brandon Loncaric, and he is going to be talking to us about his role as the director of the Oregon Youth Center here in town. So welcome to the show, Brandon. It's nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. The Oregon Youth Center, can you kind of explain how it came to be, your connection to the center and the director, and kind of your history here in Oregon as well?
So, growing up, I went to the Oregon schools. I went to the youth center, I believe 5th through 9th grade, and then I briefly moved out of the state. And when I came back, I was looking for a good job, and it just so happened that position was listed for a couple months. So I figured I'd give it a shot, and I was lucky enough to get it.
Well, that's exciting. So you said you were an OHS grad, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and you spent time here in the community through 5th and 9th grade, and you said you actually went to the center yourself, so it's really kind of neat that you've come full circle now, and that you're now part of the youth center as the director of it. So Brandon, I think many people in the community know where the Oregon Youth Center is. They've driven by it many times, but they don't exactly know how it works or who even goes to the Oregon Youth Center. So let's first kind of talk about who is eligible for attendance there, and like what does that typical day look like for a student there?
So we accept 5th through 9th graders. We have high school volunteers. It's a drop-in center, so kids kind of come and go as they please. We do have all the games in there. We have snacks, and it's kind of what the kids want it to be. So we don't try to set strict guidelines as to what we do every day. It's more so what do they come in hoping to do.
So you said inside of the building, I was doing a little research on the website, kind of looked at some pictures. It looked like you had a kind of a basketball hoop inside of the building even, and then you've got some foosball machines. What other kind of things are kids typically playing with or using while they're in that center?
So the indoor half court is probably the favorite thing.
Yeah.
We got the 2 foosball tables, pool table, air hockey, ping pong, arcade basketball, and
So no pickleball courts there yet, right? I bet the kids would like that too, probably at some point. But
right, not yet, but we're close enough to the existing one.
Yeah, and you said this is a drop-in program, so that means literally at any time during your hours, right? And your typical hours are what?
During the summer it's 12 to 4:30.
So 12 to 4:30, a parent could drop a kid off, and they'll be accepted, and they can come in and spend some time there. Is that correct?
Of course, of course.
And so on a typical day, how many people do you have in the building, or does that vary from day to day?
That greatly varies day to day. So some days I could have 40 kids.
Wow.
And then the very next day there could be 5. So it really depends.
Yeah, and as we were talking just a little bit before filming, you said that you have some high school volunteers too. So it's not just you and 40 kids all at once. Sometimes you have some high schoolers as well. Do you want to explain what role the high schoolers play there as well?
Right. So currently we have 2 high school volunteers during the school year, typically around 8. Each one of them all does the same stuff. They'll kind of monitor behavior, hang out with the kids, make snacks, help clean up. And then if they show interest, I kind of show them how to do admin work. And I think it really helps them prepare for their future careers.
Sure, yeah. So they're not only getting their service hours for graduation, obviously, but they're also kind of learning some on-the-job training. They're learning how to work with kids. They're learning how to do some of those administration duties like you were just talking about. So in your vision for this space, what would you say the goal or mission of the Oregon Youth Center really is?
I would say offering a place where kids from all different backgrounds feel welcome. Obviously that's who we are, that's what we do, but not enough people know what we're about. For the longest time, people viewed the youth center as a negative thing. There was a lot of talk of what had happened in the past, just with all the different directors and such. But I want them to all know that it's very stable now.
Okay, great.
And it's a really great place for kids to be.
Yeah, so you feel like you're bringing some new, fresh life into the building, life into the space, and that you're offering some of the same opportunities that you had yourself.
Correct.
As a kid, is that correct? Okay, great. Now, I also was looking at the website. There is some drop-in, obviously, that's on the daily regular schedule, but now you do have some outings every now and then, too. So do you want to explain about what other activities beyond just kind of hanging out in the space and playing with what you got in the space? What other activities do you do with the kids?
Sure. So every Wednesday we go to the pool during the summer. In the center, we do engineering club.
Okay.
So typically I'll have some ideas set in place, but if a kid's like, oh, that's really boring, let's turn a scooter into a car, is what we did all last week. We figured out how we could make an electric scooter a 2-person car.
Okay.
And they kind of drove around the block. So.
Oh, that's exciting. I wish do you have any pictures of that? We could probably put that up on the
I got
show page,
videos.
too. Okay,
So.
well, great. That's exciting. So it really is kind of kid-driven in terms of like stuff that's kind of really kind of interesting them at the time.
Yeah. I mean, we're there so that they can have fun and learn and grow, and there's no point in doing something that they have no interest in.
Sure,
so.
exactly. So now, how do you get financial support for this program? Like, how are the tables there? How are the foosball tables there? Like, or if people are interested in kind of helping out, what are ways they could do that as well?
So a lot of the equipment we have was donated when the building was first built.
Okay.
Now, if we need anything specific, we'll make a post, and the community members are really great about helping us get what we need. A lot of people just kind of think of us when they're looking to rehome something like our air hockey table.
Sure.
It just showed up one day.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. You might get too many offers for some weird stuff out there. Yeah. I've seen the Facebook pages, but
Yep.
yeah. So you get some support from the community, some donations as well. Do you take financial donations? Is that correct?
Yep. So a lot of our finances come from the municipalities and Dane County. And we also get private donations from families and small businesses.
Okay, so it sounds like it's a really kind of engaging and cool place to be hanging out these days for these kids. It's great that you're kind of there in charge. Now, anybody that's watching that might have an interest, is there anything that you'd like to see happen in this space in the next couple of years? Anything that you obviously think is in need that needs to be filled, or any other kind of activities that you're looking to bring in for the kids?
So I would really like to see our numbers go up as for how many students come every day. We have such a huge space, it's perfect. And then as for new activities, I would love to see a rock wall, just kind of anything that can draw in more people, that way we have something for everyone.
Sure. All right, so if anybody out there has expertise in building rock walls or has a connection in the area, make sure you kind of meet up with Brandon or get a hold of him. So speaking of that, Brandon, how do you follow your area on social media? How do you follow the events of the Oregon News Center? Is there a newsletter, a website? What are the best ways to kind of stay connected and in the know about the Oregon News Center?
Sure. So we have a Facebook page. We have a website that was actually just completely updated. And then on our website, you can sign up for a newsletter as well.
Okay, so there's multiple ways to kind of stay in touch.
Yep.
Well, we hope that the space keeps growing under your leadership and that it keeps being a really welcoming and positive place for the kids of the Oregon community. And I know for myself and for other folks in the community, thank you for being here, and thank you for providing that for kids, so they know that it's really important to keep our kids really engaged, and this is a really good way to keep them in a really positive environment. So thanks for making time to come to the show today, Brandon, and that's all we have for Let's Talk Oregon. So we'll see you next month in August. Thanks.